variety of desires. Sister can love hanging out in, I don't know, and brother likes to hang out in the caves, and they're going to have.
So, but we're still living on one continent, right? With perfect weather, without no rain nowhere. Because it wouldn't rain. Perfect weather all the time, year round. It wouldn't have been like nobody's gonna live actually on top of a mountain. They live in the valley of mountain. Mount Rain.
Well, if they so desired, if they stop or in the valley, that's just their choice. And if a whole family decides to live up there because that's just something they're into, then I think that change is going to show up. And
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Nobody lives on top of mountains. Okay, they don't do it.
Well,
they don't live on top of mountains.
Well, the Machu Picchu people, they're living on the mountains.
Who?
You know those famous kind of like Indian. Peru, you're talking about Peru? Yeah, in Peru, where they have like a city of stones up there, and that's just high up in the mountains.
Oh, okay, great. All right. Now, with you, option is that okay? Evolution don't work like we are taught. Okay, so the environment in no way, shape, form how somebody the skin complexion.
So what it does?
Only mating and fucking your physicality as you work out there throughout your life and stuff like that gets inherited by the children.
Say people who work out on the mountains, they work a different way, and then you have sex with someone who does the same kind of work, then you're gonna have that kind of child. But the people who like to hang out, maybe swim, or maybe run or whatever, their child
have a different physique, right? Okay, that's true. Now, but where is your nobody's sin? So where is your diversity of skin complexion coming from?
Well, the diversity of skin will come of habit. So people will have different desires, which would also cause them to have different habits, which would also show up in their lifestyle and then also into their children.
And does that skin complexion
happens over time. You just keep on repeating the habit generationally. Eventually, it may happen based on, I don't know, maybe you avoiding the sun. People without sin would look blue.
You can avoid the sun for 2,000 years, and all you're gonna do is end up looking like the grays that live inside the earth. You're not gonna be white.
Wait, what do you mean? Okay, say it again. What do you mean you're not gonna be white?
Avoiding the sun does not turn somebody white over a long period of time. It's only gonna turn them who are the fucking fathers of the fucking Asian people.
Okay. When you say gray, what person that looks gray?
The gray. The gray.
Yeah, I don't know. I never heard that as a race color before. Gray person
is what some people imagine to be an alien from another planet, but they're actually local people.
Okay, no, okay, so probably not. You probably won't look gray. But okay, maybe we would look gray. I mean, the thing is, just all I'm saying is, it could be different colors and recognized today, but there will still be a difference because of generational habits. Now, maybe it won't be a skin color thing. Maybe it'll look red or brown or whatever the original. Maybe there will be different height. Maybe there will be different, you know.
That's another thing. No sin, there would have been living, would have had 1,000-year-old people living today.
Yeah, which makes it even worse, because if you're living 17,000 years, your body, you're not going to look like how you originally looked when you were 10, 20 years old. You're going to look almost like non-human. You're not going to look like a human. You're just going to evolve like into a whole nother super duper human.
Now that's an interesting thought. I can see, because my understanding of a Neanderthal, which has been a hot topic this past year, is that a Neanderthal is simply a very old person, a 500-year-old person, a 300-year-old person, a 900-year-old person.
Interesting. Well, I doubt the findings of these scientists, they're trying to shoehorn everything into the evolutionary idea that Neanderthal is a human. But Genesis, where people lived and they were giants, to me it makes sense. They were giants, because if you're living that long, you should also grow to a proportionate height of your age. So, let's say I at 100 years old. So it makes sense to stop growing at 20, 22. So if they die so, it makes sense for them to stop growing at 200 years old. And so, but then it gets worse. If you're living forever, if you're living for like a long time, who knows? We end up looking like Galacticus or something like that in a million years.
Right.
Eating planets.
Because it says when he returns, we're going to be living to the age of trees. So the oldest tree that we know of is 6,000 years old. The oldest one is 12,000 years old. Long time.
I want to say something, right?
Take a quarter of that. That's how long is that? Well, no.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
How can they say that the oldest tree is 6,000 and the root is 12,000 when you got this earth been here billions of years ago? And that don't even make sense.
Yeah, I know, because you think everything is true. Not true. So I'm saying to you that Greeks taught you some faith of theirs in order to hide the existence of God. So the Bible tells us that we don't, but we can assume how old the earth is. So we can assume that the earth is, 7,000 years old. 13,000 years old. So, but it's not for us to really know how old itself. It's just for us to live in their society. That's the whole purpose of the Bible, to learn, act like them and do shit like them. Perfect. Fail. Decisions, and every decision we make.
You're talking about to who? Heaven, or to
be accepted into it's millions of
heavenly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my view is that, of course, the division of humanity was always God, but because of Babylon and so on, try to build up to heaven and so on, he had to speed up the process. Oh man, they're gonna destroy each other all at once, heaven, and then trying to attack me or whatever. Let me just speed up the process, force them by confusing the language to surround the whole world and then be fragmented in that way. Because if everyone stay in one place, they're all gonna be like the same. They're all gonna look like
you're trying to have you harmonize this with known science, right?
I'm trying to normalize it. I mean,
trying to our scriptures with the hypothetical saying that there is no sin and we're still living on one continent and there is no rain and all this stuff and the ground is being watered by the mist, right? All this stuff, and to certain sizes and all this stuff, right? None. Okay, yeah. But if you want to harmonize that with some type of science, then you're still not telling us how their skin can change to white.
I mean, as far as we see, when you go to China, you can see that the people who actually work in they're tan, they're lighter. And then those who work in the office, they're a lot lighter. And I notice even with myself, you know, half of my life, I was more darker because I played outside all day. But now that I got more of a, I guess sedentary lifestyle, you know, I'm a little bit lighter than I remember myself.
I like to interject. I like to interject on something. Now, since we got technology in the form that we have it now, they can actually create your baby how you want the baby to be, with blue eyes, green eyes, light skin, dark skin. They actually can do this. So if they can do this, they actually have the science to tell you in black people.
Genetics.
That's right, genetics. With genetics.
So is that wrong?
No, that's not wrong at all. But I'm trying to answer his question because they saying that you got to be.
They had that before they taught us that.
Yeah.
I believe so too. I believe that. Like, I believe before the flood, they were playing with genetics, because if they lived 900 years old and they were wicked, I see no reason why they would avoid doing that. Because one, before the flood, I think the earth was a lot. It was more clean. It was perfect. It was also more predictable, and it wasn't like they were constantly looking for food. They didn't waste their whole day looking for food. So since they had so much time on their hands, they also had a lot of study time. And if I'm living 900 years, you go to school for 200-300 years, you're gonna learn something. And so I'm certain that they definitely had all the time in the world to learn what we know today and just play with it like it's nothing. So with that kind of level of knowledge, plus being wicked, I see no reason why they were not like doing great.
And they already had they had to have more access to their brain, which activates things that we're just now trying to remember, like telepathy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. So you still have not introduced whiteness to this.
Oh, well, yeah, whiteness. No, it's just whiteness is just an optional color. That now, when we say whiteness, are we talking about, like, I guess, the typical Caucasian, or like a variation of whiteness that's not black?
I mean, I'm trying to reserve. I'm not trying to guide your thought. I wanted you to just introduce it yourself. But the only aberration I can see in your scenario is albinism.
Oh, well,
Noah was an albino, according to my perspective. So that was pre-flood. He was born 600 years before the flood. So he's living in that perfect society and that perfect all that shit.
Yeah. Why is he albino? Is it just a birth defect, or just
just a natural birth defect. Yeah.
So all black people came from an albino person? Because everyone came from Noah.
Right.
Okay, so you're totally different. Because most people, at least in the black conscious, see Esau as the albino, and he's the originator of white people. And well, and he can't technically be an albino because I heard that albinos are what they just can't have children. Well, I mean, albinos can't have children.
No, that's not true. About people with white skin. So, not all albinos. Albino was a black person with white skin, but in every race now. But I'm saying that that's how it was. So Noah was a man, from my perspective.
Okay,
but they can have children, but nowadays sometimes they have like defects or something. I don't know. They have like little defects or something going on with them.
Okay, so let's say two albinos, you know, they have intercourse and they have a child.
Whoa. Where's the other albino coming from?
Huh?
See you jumping, you be thousands of years.
Yeah, but he just saying though, you know, two albinos get together though. He just saying.
Being guided, so I want a white for you.
Oh,
now
okay, but
invented a whole nother album mate with. How did you do that?
You saying Noah was an albino?
If
wow.
an albino person has sex with a black person, with the child and just be a regular black person.
There was nothing.
You hear that, Kansu?
Before the flood.
So I find it hard to multiply white people when, you know, even an albino person will give birth to another black person.
That's exactly my point. So where's your whiteness coming from? In a perfect world, on one continent, supercontinent, with 6,000-year-olds, where's the white people come from?
The white people come from...
You keep saying simple, but you haven't answered it in 30 minutes.
Okay, people come from their diet and also how they live among the sun.
It's impossible. That's not how whiteness occurs.
Yeah,
that's not how whiteness occurs.
If you're eating a certain, if your nutritional value doesn't, I guess, collect as much melanin, and then on top of that, you're not taking in vitamin D or whatever, your skin is gonna show up in your house.
No, that is to a black person.
Imaginary science into your biblical what's this thought process called? What are we doing? Hypothetical. As a fake science into a hypothetical thing that never occurred. So it's already hard enough for me to keep up with the logic of the thing that never happened. But now you're putting in some fake ass science. It's not going to change your color.
No, but really, it does change the health of your skin. If you eat certain foods, your skin will be smoother, and also it would help you fight against certain cancers. Like there's food that deals with your skin. So your habits of eating end up like showing up in your skin, you know, with the sun. If you're working all day in the sun, if there's a lot of humidity, the coldness, the clouds, all that eventually will show up in your skin. Just like how if you eat a lot of carrots, you're gonna get.
How was it? See, you're not staying true to your hypothetical. How was it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You talk about this. How was it cold on the planet? One supercontinent. Where is it cold at?
I mean, I don't know for certain, but the coldness could be possibly the heights of the mountains. So you can always have, just like Konya, it's 70 degrees at 1 degree at one level. But then you can go out, you know, snowboarding the same day. Just go to the mountains.
Okay. So the people that live in the mountains become white in your scenario over thousands of years or something.
Yeah, over 100 years.
Even though we've never observed this happen in reality. Now you want us to imagine imaginary scenarios. That's why.
Well, actually, that's why I gave you my life of me actually, like one half of my life being hang out in the sun, and then the other part of my life, at least most of my
being really dark. You're still really dark.
No, I'm lighter, and that's just one life. That's just only sometimes that happens within a year. If I'm in the summer when I'm out in the sun.
Everybody goes through that, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's complexion gets darker in the summer and lighter during the winter. But I'm telling you, that doesn't happen over hundreds of years for your children's children. Go ahead, try it. Try the experiment, okay? And then we'll talk back in about 1,000 years and see if your kids are white. Because you moved to the...
Okay, well, hey, I mean, I think my theory is, though. How?
What are two imaginary theories?
Wait, one.
Well, how about that know what they're talking about come in with for a fact, not with all these theories.
You introduce albinism and then marry another albino in order for them to keep mating over and over again until they eventually become white.
I didn't introduce that. I was trying to help your theory. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that white people came from albinos.
That's cool. But you believe that people came from their diet, what they ate over thousands of years.
Part of their diet, and then also where they live.
Meaning cold.
Yeah, if you live in different parts of the world, you're going to be either...
Never experienced this, though. Observe this.
But the thing is, when I actually give you observing things that actually happen, you say, well, everyone goes through that, which is the point.
That's true. Everybody does go through that. You're not the only person that goes on the earth.
Which is my point. If it happens to everyone, then that is proof that it can happen to everyone.
Yeah, that's no point. And my argument is that I don't give a damn how much I enter throughout the year. It's never going to go crazy and go psycho to where they just completely just one day out of the year become a full white person. Well, they're not going to be born white or nothing.
It's going to be gradual.
You got all black. It's not going to happen. But you can go ahead. All right.
But I guess my supreme point is that God did want variety of people, different kinds of people. He didn't want just one kind of person or one kind of race or one kind of nationality. It was inevitable for us to actually turn into a fragmentation of different races, culture, and so on, because in all that, we would actually, some people will major, or some races will major in different mysteries of God, so that other races that don't have the time to do, what, can also benefit from the other part of the race. So angels are different. Go ahead. I don't want to run on.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into angels after this, because your conclusion is based on fake science. You're not going to live in no cold climate in Siberia. The people that live Siberians, they're called Siberians. They live in the middle of a desert of ice. Okay, and they're still brown. They've been living there for thousands of years. They're still brown.
Yeah, and like I said, it really depends on what they eat or how they live. Sometimes, like if you are out in the sun and actually get a tan, and that's quite possible. But
so you're the one that said that they live in the mountains and eat melanin depleting food. Then they're gonna turn white.
Yeah,
you're not launching a coherent, logical, step-by-step depletion of skin color.
Well, I am. It's just that you're not seeing the nuance. So let's say there's 1,000 different variety of of things the person can eat. And if they eat certain, like let's say 500 things, and another group eat 500, the other 500 things, in the sun, right? They both are in the sun. Because of how one person eat a different variety of food, it's just going to show up differently. On top of them being in the group may actually be lighter in the sun because of the things they're eating. While the same group who are living in the same conditions, because they eat something different, their skin may be a little lighter or darker, depending on the habits of how much they eat or how much they work out in the sun. Does that make sense?
Now, if this were true, then you would have some sense of what foods can be eaten to deplete your melanin.
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things you could actually look up on Google, like for example,
hey,
I know carrots.
Can I say something? Can I say something to you, brothers? Just say this: if you got a black woman, right, and she get pregnant, and she go live with a white family, and she eating all the food that a white family eat, not the food that a black person eat, but all the food that, you know, what you talking about, the carrots and everything else, is that gonna change the DNA of that baby coming out with melanin?
Yeah, little by little, yeah.
I don't think so, because the melanin is already coded in the DNA. It don't matter what food you eat. The melanin is already coded in it. You got light women having dark children. You got two light parents having dark children.
True.
So, and it don't matter what they ate. It's already coded in the DNA from the grandfather or the grandmother. And it ain't got nothing to do with basically the parents sometimes that actually having the child. It's already coded in the DNA what the child gonna be. So you can take on the DNA from your forefather that ain't had nothing to do with your parents, and you came out a darker complexion or with green eyes, and nobody in your family had green eyes. You see what I'm saying? But your later your forefathers may have green eyes, but no one in your immediately family have green eyes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
True.
I mean, like a great
like a great grandfather, because it's still in your bloodline from your great grandparents that still run through your blood from a certain generation time period. So what I'm saying is, if we deal with the strains of melanin that's in a black person, like 24 strains, for example, if I subtract 2 strains from the 24 strain, I'm lacking the melanin inside of that person from the blood plasma. Okay, so if I take the blood from a black man and I look at his blood in a glass or some type of microscope, and I see that what his blood is composed of, and I subtract 2 strains of melanin from his blood, that will act as a person. Now you inject that blood or whatever you're trying to create into a woman or whatever, splicing or whatever, that will not be the same genetic form that it originally was in. So that's how white people came about, from black people, from being watered down from black people's scream. That's how white people came about, actually. That's a fact, and that can be proven. That's why we have more melanin than you guys, because you have lesser strains of melanin than we do.
For sure. But that doesn't contradict. Like DNA, our DNA is so complicated that there's a million things that's affecting it. So, sure, I'm getting DNA from my great grandparents and, other recycled, but that's just because they also had habits. They had eating habits. It shows up in my DNA. My mother had eating habits. It shows up in my DNA. Then I had eating habits, and it shows up in my body. And then eventually, if I have children, all the habits of the fathers and the forefathers, it's going to show up in my grandchildren or in my children. So, yeah, so for example, if there was a white woman who was eating a lot of black food, I think within maybe 1 or 2 generations, those white women, their body shape is going to look like women. They're eventually going to end up looking black. as far as body shape. They're gonna have bigger hips, you know. Yeah, they're gonna look.
What the hell? What the hell are you talking about? What kind of diet does black people have to make us look like this? That is
okay. Well, certain fast. I mean, if you look at our neighborhoods, we have certain fast foods, certain foods that we enjoy eating.
He right, chicken, yeah, and burgers and shit. Yeah, he right.
So
you know, every other race on the face of the planet likes chicken.
Yeah, but they don't eat it at the same rate as we do, and they don't eat it with the same seasoning.
What makes you imagine that?
Well,
so
because
the seasoning causes big hips.
Well, yeah, all these little things, all these tiny things with grease, how you cook the chicken, you know, how often you eat the chicken, and on top of everything else, French fries, fast food.
Right, the fat of the pig and all of that. Yeah, the leftover fat of the pig. Yeah.
No food made us like that. We was made like
He's got some type of imaginary.
No, it's not true.
Imaginary science in your mind.
You don't. Okay, you got black women in all shape. Not all black women have black fat booty. You got black women that got flat booty.
I mean, every race on the planet eats chicken every other day.
No, but we're exaggerating it as though we're all eating.
Okay, I see what he's saying. I see exactly what he's saying, because he's saying, for example, look at the Chinese people. You don't see a Chinese woman from China all thick and everything and fat booty. None of them have fat booty like that.
I'm hearing. Your mic went out, Anu.
You can hear me now?
Yeah, they either
I say I can see what he's saying, because the China women, the Chinese women over there in China, none of them have fat booties. All of them are skinny.
Because of what they eat.
Right, because of what they eat. But over here, that I seen with fat booties.
Because of how they eat. Once they come to America, you would notice the difference. If you go to America versus, you know, another continent, you know that you start to notice these shapes that are different, and it's because how they eat. It's just that.
Now you're introducing fake ass food stuff over here.
Okay, so what?
Yeah.
Still food.
Huh? Still food? Man, you don't have enough science in your brain in order to come to a logical conclusion about it.
You said it's fake, so I'll just go by your rules. Let's say if you continue to eat fake food, then it's going to show up.
Right. That's why people have it over here.
Yeah.
But they had big old booties back in the day too.
Yeah.
It was because of all the pigs that they were eating.
Okay, we can blame it on the pig, but you still no. If it was because of the pig, then still, when it comes to diet, what you eat, you know, it's gonna show up in your body. Habits of your family.
Right. So now, my phone rang whenever you were telling me what food make you white over time.
Oh wait, you don't do? Oh, okay. So not what y'all
do. That's Gregory. The blue face is Anu. The gray face is Kansu. The electric leopard is Miss Eclectic. You got it now?
My phone is not. The screen is off. I don't really know your screen is broke. I see what y'all saying though.
My phone rang whenever you were telling me what foods create white people.
Right. That's
Yeah, let me hear it.
Well, I can't
say carrots,
but I do know.
You said carrots, so if we just eat nothing but carrots, we're gonna become white over 100, 400. So think to become white in your.
Well, I mean, I imagine maybe like generations. Yeah, probably that long. If you can carry.
I mean, that is not a long time if you think about it.
He's looking at China, right, and how they're all white now, and thinking that their diet made them white. But it's white people over there mating with them. That's why they became white.
No, it's because of the industrial.
There's no white people.
No. It's obviously people in China. It's not that much. It's not that much.
Well, the Chinese people, the Chinese people.
Are you familiar with ancient China?
No, I haven't seen
the dynasties before.
Right. That's what I was.
You never see. That's why it's confusing to them. Okay, because ancient China before it was unified under